Oh, very good morning to you. If you just joined us, good to have you with us on the South African morning. Finally, we have some good news when it comes to the fuel price in our country. All of us motorists can breathe a sigh of relief at midnight tonight only. The price of petrol is going to drop by R1.32 at midnight. Diesel drivers, good news for you as well, going down by 91 cents. We'll take anything we can at the moment. And more reductions are expected in coming months. Let's find out how likely that is. Independent economic analyst, Professor Bonke Dumisa, regular guest here on the show, back with us. Prof. Dumisa, morning to you. Always good to have you on the show. And good news for a change. You and I finally get to talk about a drop in the fuel price. And I can't help but imagine we are seeing a slow reduction in the oil price at the moment, around $104, $106 per barrel. And then also the rand seems to be holding its gains against the US dollar.
Yes, you've explained it very well. What has happened is the international Brent crude oil prices have reduced significantly from an average of above 111 US dollars per barrel in June and to an average of below 106 US dollars per barrel now in July. And this morning at about 3 a.m., the Brent crude oil price was at 99 US dollars. I checked some 15 minutes back. It was still below 100 US dollars at 99 US dollars 29 cents. So that is good news. If that trend continues, it means this whole thing about the petrol price and diesel price decreases may go on, and we may have it again in September. And let's hope we'll keep on seeing the strengthening of the rand against the US dollar and the plunging of the international crude oil prices. And that's even more possible now. Remember, yesterday, for the first time, there was a grain ship from Ukraine out of those very tricky seas to take out grain from Ukraine to Turkey. So that may be the start of some better things to happen. Maybe we'll start having the Russian crude oil being moved across easily without having to dodge the people who are looking for those people who are breaking that embargo against Russia. And if that happens, we may see the price of Brent crude oil going back to below 80 US dollars, which was the case before this whole thing at the beginning of February.
Help viewers and I understand, Prof. Dumisa, if that was the case. Let's talk some specific numbers here for a moment. As I mentioned, the rand holding steady as well. We saw last week U.S. economic data was waiting to see what the Central European Bank was going to do. Now that dollar rand holding steady because of that. From an oil perspective, if we were to get back down to around $80 per barrel, what does that translate to for you and I that have to fill up our car every month? How much cheaper could the fuel price get? Could we get back to the first quarter of 2021, perhaps?
Maybe. Let us start from where we were when we started with these problems in February. Maybe we may be able to go back to where we were in January, or even better in December. I would rather stick to that one and not assume the role of the Central Energy Fund and at the Department of Energy. So I just want to say, in January, we were below, when we look at this, at the South African petroleum and diesel prices, were far below where we are as it is now. The price of petrol and diesel has increased by over 10, no, not 10, by over 8 rands at least within these past 8 months. So we may have to reverse that, and that will be good news for South Africa. I don't want to be too over optimistic.
Then let's put a shroud of caution on the optimism for the moment and move away from the price of petrol and whether or not that will come down. If you look into the Professor Dumisa crystal ball, do you expect the rand to continue its trend against the US dollar? Do you expect to see that oil price, which you alluded to earlier, based on what's happening with Ukraine and Russia, but on the US dollar and rand scenario, do you expect the rand to continue at its current trajectory?
Yes, it may improve. You must remember that the rand was, in the past few weeks, over 17 rands. 1 rand, 1 US dollar to over 17 rands. As it is this morning, we woke up, the rand was at 16 rands 54 to the US dollar. That's a really marked improvement. And if ever we can improve on that, because this is my personal feeling, I must state that one. I believe that the rand is overvalued, is undervalued at any level above 15 rand 60 to the US dollar. So if ever the rand can start shifting downwards towards below the 16 rands level to the US dollar, things may improve very significantly because we buy that international crude oil in US dollars. So the better the rand is against the US dollar and the lower the international Brent crude oil prices are, the better for South Africans. The good days may come back even earlier than we anticipate. But I don't want us to be too optimistic.
We'll take
Let's do it month by month.
We'll take any optimism that you can show us at the moment. Prof. Dumisa, it's always good to have you with us, explaining so nicely what we're looking for as far as markets are concerned and how that impacts us with our fuel prices. My thanks to independent economic analyst, Professor Bonke Dumisa. So you'll see every time we run the markets, you'll notice that Dumisa and I always allude to what is happening with the rand against the dollar.